This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos Daf Nun Ches Amud Beis. We're holding on the bottom of Nun Ches Amud Aleph, 5 lines from the bottom. Amar Mahar teaches the Gemara, quoting the Brisa, Lo Teitze Behema. An animal is not allowed to go out not with a chaisam, an emblem on its neck, nor with a chaisam on its clothing, not with a bell on its neck, not a bell on its clothing. And both of these items, the bells, the chaisem, are not mikabel tama. Says the Gemara, why is the bell of an animal not mikabel tama? I'll ask you a contradiction. The last line, Zog shal behema tameya, the bell of an animal is mikabel tama. We turn over to Beis shal deles. The bell of a door is tahira, is not mikabel tama. Shal deles v'asa'u lebehema. Let's say I have a bell of a door, and then I fashion it for an animal, tameya. It is yes mikabel tama as soon as its function changes. These are the rules of tama v'tayra that are based on where it is utilized for. Whereas the reverse shall behema v'asar ledeles aval bi shechebra ledeles v'kava b'smasmeirim. Even if you attach it to the door, you hammered him with nails, still tame remains tame. Why? Shekol akelim yarden de tumasim emachshava. A keli could become yes mikabel tama, yes acceptable to tama b'machshava through thought, but vein oilim midei tumasan. It does not raise up, emerge from its tama. Ela b'shinoi ma'isa. Only through an actual change. So once it's tameh, if you want to now make it not tameh, what do you have to do? You have to change it. And attaching it to the door, says the Bryce, is not called a change. But what's the kasha, says the Gemara? What do we see? We see that the bell of behema is yes, mikabel tamah. So why did the Bryce teach zeh v'zeh in mikabel tamah? Says the Gemara, loy kasha. When it has a clapper, that's when it's mikabel tama, the piece that makes noise. Then it's not mikabel tama. Says the Gemara, Imanu. If it's considered a mana, a kli, even without the clapper, why? It's ornamental, it looks nice. And he loved mana, who cares? Mana is the clapper, the detail. So says the Gemara, what is the difference? Answers the Gemara in, yes, the clapper will make it into a kli. Why? Because the Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Rav Yonis and Rav Shmuel Nachmani Amar Rav Yonis said, "Minayin l'mashmiya kol bekli b'tachais shutami." How do we know that a kli, a metal item that is utilized lahashmiya kol to give off sound? How do we know is mikabel tama shenemar kol davar she'yavo beish taviru beish? Says the pasuk, anything that comes through fire should pass through fire, and then it becomes tahar. Afilu dibur yavoi ve'ish. So the actual word davar comes to teach us that even through a dibur, even a sound, makes it into something that's mikabel tama, and therefore will have to be yavo be'esh, will have to be purified through fire. So we see that yes, the inbal, the clapper, will make something into a kli to be mikabel tama. But says the Gemara, so you're saying that our brisa that said it's not mikabel tama doesn't have an inbal, doesn't make noise. The problem is, what is the next case of the Brisa to talk about? The bell on an Eved. The Brisa said, now the bell around the animal's neck. But it could go out with a bell on its clothing. And both of them are mikabel tama. So says the Gemara, if it's the same bell as the first part of the Brisa, it's less invel. Mi mikabel tama, v'raminu oises zagin l'machtashev, so makes bells for a mortar, ularisa for a cradle, mitpachot, Sfarim, the coverings of Sfarim, like on the Sifrei Torah, etc., mitzvahs, tinoikais. Then what's the halacha? Yesh lamin vol temeim, ein lamin vol tahirim. Nitlu in beleim. If the clapper falls off, Why? Because you have to change the item. So says the Gemara, how are we going to stem the first part of the brisa with the second part of the brisa when it talks about the Eved? It has to be a case that a yes has the inbul in order to be mekabel toma. The yes has the clapper. Answers the Gemara, Hani mili ditinoik. That when it comes to the bell of a child, that's when it has to have a noise-making item. Why? Because the bell of a child is there to make noise. Avol gadol, the bell in a gadol, the bell in an eved. Tachshed ulei, what is it? It's a mere tachshed. It just looks pretty, and therefore, avogad lesbe inbla will still be yes. Mikabel Toma. So it comes out, depending on what the bell is made for, will determine its functionality and whether it's Mikabel Toma only if it has an inbell, only if it has a clapper like the bell of a child, or even without it like the bell of the Eved. Amar Mar, the two dots, 20 lines at the bottom. Nelu in Bilayim, the Bryce said that if the clapper fell off, if the noise-making item fell off, Adayin Tomas and Alain is still Tameh, says the Gemara. Why is it Tami Lamai Chazi? What usage does it have right now? And if it doesn't have a usage, should be a broki clear, therefore should be Makabel Tama. Says the Gemara, no, Amar Abai Hol, the Hedid Yachalach Zira, a Hedid is able just to clip back on that inbol, therefore it's not considered fully broken, therefore it's still Makabel Tama. Masiv Rava, Azug Ve'inbol Chibur, asks Rava, the Mishnah teaches that the bell and the clapper are considered chibur, considered attached, meaning with regard to tumah of a tire, if one part of them becomes tameh, the bell becomes tameh, the clapper is tameh. If the clapper becomes tameh, the bell becomes tameh. So what do we see? We see that it's considered one entity that has a din of mechubar. So the kasha the Gemara is bothered by, and therefore if it comes off, even if you can return it with the greatest of ease, it should still not to be considered one entity anymore and should not be makabel tama. Maybe you'll tell me that, what the Mishnah says, that it's mechubar, it's attached. Afal gav, maybe it's mamish teaching our chiddush that what afal gav the loy mechaber command the mechaber dami. That no, even though it's not on, because you could put it on with the greatest of ease. Says Marvatanya, where the Brisa says, if there's two items, a scissor, a carpenter's blade, you have the two items. It's considered attached for tama, but not for sprinkling. Vamrinon. What does that mean? If it's attached, so what does it mean that this item, these two pieces of the scissor, the blade and the handle, are considered attached for tama, not for hazah? The Amar Rabba, and Rabba explains it 6 lines from the bottom. Tavar Torah midaraisa b'shas melacha, when you're using them, when they're connected, when they have a functionality, they can cut with it. Chiber bein l'tama bein l'azah. Shaloi b'shas melacha, when they're not able to be utilized, they're not being used right now. Ina chiber l'tama l'azah. Vegazu. So now, why did we say this tuma for this? Yes, one for tuma, but not for azah, because it's like zera. Vegazu al tuma shalai b'shas melach. We made zera for tuma when you're not using it. Mishum tuma shi b'shas melacha, but azah shi b'shas melacha. When it comes to azah, it's only while it's being used. Mishum azah shalai b'shas melacha. And that's the reason why to come out to have two different usages. What's the kasha? The kasha is that it's only considered one when it's connected. So what does it mean by us that even without the inbol, it's still mikabel tuma? And we said because you can return it with the greatest of ease. But how do we fit it with this other brisa that says that it's mechubar, that it's one entity, seemingly teaching us only when it is attached? Says the Gemara on the last line, Ella Amar Rava, Anaya Teretz, as we turn over to tomorrow's Amin and Tezamid Aleph, Hoyel Verol Akisha El Gabe Cheres. Even without its clap, or even with the inbol is removed, the reason why it's still Makabal Toma, why? Because it still has a usage. You can use it to hit like a symbol onto a pot. It's so because it still has some usage, some noise-making usage, even without the inbol, that's the reason why it's still Makabal Toma, even when it comes off. Pick it up from here, B'siyata Dishmaya.